Draft Season Podcast. We are back with another NBA Draft 2022 breakdown to discuss one of the high risers in this crop of prospects. We're always pro guys getting their bag, but it's always dope to see when guys do head back to school, and you can tell what a summer of hard work and training can do to your draft stock. So we are talking about Arizona guard Bennedict Mathurin, Mazo, coming out of another one of these guys. He's shout out to Canada. A lot of Haitians over there out in Canada. But Bennedict Mathurin, man, he has a lot of tantalizing tools. Somebody who's definitely going to be hearing his name called inside of the top 10 on draft night. I'm here with my brother Young Raz. But Raz, without any further ado, thoughts on Bennedict Mathurin?
Bucket, man. I think after watching him this year on the highly touted Arizona team, we got to see a bit of his scoring prowess, and like you mentioned a bit earlier, we're always for some of those players. Everybody has decided now that they have to leave the moment they can leave and get that bag, and I'm all for going to get that bag and taking care of your family. But, a lot of these players need an extra year of development and rigorous care that they won't get on the NBA bench. And, there's a lot of players that should have went back, and he's one of those guys who, made that decision. Pretty athletic guy. We were speaking offline. He's very athletic. He's a 2-foot leaper. Lots of bounce with there, lots of power. He gets to the rim, and when he gets there, he's looking to do damage. He's not looking to finish softly or lightly or lay it up. He's trying to throw it on your head, and as they say on Twitter, he has that dog in him, and that's something that you can't measure. You cannot measure. You can't measure hard. He gets to the bucket, he's slash, and that first step is very, very quick. Also somebody who could spot it up and shoot the ball as well. His offense, his ability to score is something that in this class he might not be the best, but he's definitely top 5 at it. And I think his main issue, and we spoke about that a bit too, is just his handle. He's gonna be somebody who's gonna have to tighten up that handle to get these same type of looks he got in college in the NBA.
Definitely 100% agree with you. Has that dog in him. See the step that he took in his second year, going through the tape and looking where he came from the beginning of his freshman season to the end of his sophomore season at Arizona. He turned into a completely different player, and the confidence that he showed with his jump shot, and he flashes a lot of traits of somebody who should be a pretty good shooter at the NBA level. A quick and high release. He's able to get it off in a number of different circumstances. 38% career shooter from 3 in college. That's over 316 attempts. So that's some pretty good overall volume for a guy like Bennedict. He's aggressive in hunting that shot. Spoke about his finishing. When he's able to get a full head of steam and momentum, he's capable of some real highlight reel and acrobatic finishes at the rim. What else really stood out to you just watching Bennedict?
His off-ball stuff offensively is something that, how we just spoke about his handle being questionable, and that will hinder some of his productivity until that is tightened up. I think where he can compensate for that until then is his off-ball movement. He's very adept with backdoor cuts and cutting off the ball, moving off screens and getting open to get his shot off or get downhill without the defense being in front of him. So I think him being able to bring that type of energy and that type of movement within the NBA offenses is going to be his current meal ticket until he tightens up that handle. I think his mid-range jump shot, we do say the mid-range is dead. Not over here. He's somebody who's going to pull up and take that, and I think him being able to ball handle in the pick and roll is going to be something that's going to be able to take him to the next level and reach that all-star status that you just spoke about.
Yeah, I mean, with the mid-range stuff, I think he's kind of like a get all the way to the rim or three-pointer guy. I think they logged him at only around 36 mid-range attempts, and he only made that by like 31%. When we talk about these aggressive downhill guards and playing with pace and pace variation, because At the NBA level, if you're just going 0 to 100 and you're trying to go in a straight line drive, that's not too hard for NBA. NBA teams can scheme, having a guy in the right level to help defense, really tunneling that and shutting that lane down for you. The mid range is not dead, and you see the importance of the mid range game. The closer we get to June, and we talk about the second and third level and second and third rounds of the playoffs, that's when those shots really become as important because they're going to take away your bread and butter. If I could actually believe in the mid-range shot a little bit more, if he got a little push floater, 8 to 12 feet, I think that would be, massive for his actual game. Average as a ball handler, I would say, although he prefers to drive to his right, he's capable of finishing with either hand, prone to getting himself in some trouble, dribbling into tight spaces because he has a tendency of picking up his dribble prematurely when he's trying to actually read the floor as a playmaker. But what do you really make of his passing?
I mean, it's currently capped, right, by that handle. I do think he has the ability to be a pretty solid passer. I just think is it going to come off of a live dribble? Probably not. So a lot of his passes are going to be stationary. That will limit him from a playmaking sense. But I do think he's a little bit capped there until he works on some of his deficiencies.
What did you make of his defense?
Look, I wouldn't say it was optional for him, but he plays when he has to. But his defense isn't something that we're going to be writing home about. He does get lost sometimes with ball watching, which is a thing that could be corrected on the next level. That's just being the best player on the floor at times throughout your whole life. You tend to sometimes forget about, those little things because everything comes so easily to you. Transition wise, he's an athletic enough to where he should be able to be a solid transition defense person. So again, that's going to come down to effort. And I do think that, he's going to have to work on some lateral quickness. But I mean, look, he has the tools to be a solid NBA defender, average NBA defender, to not be a negative on that end. So he needs to do everything, just with a few other wings in this class, is just to lock in on his fundamentals, his technique on the defensive side, so there's no lapse there.
These are kind of the hardest guys to really project at the NBA level, because just because you have good defensive tools doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be an impactful defender on that level. He does have quick feet and solid reflexes, which allow him to really make, move quick hip turns when defending ball screens. The level of tenacity on defense, I think that definitely waxes and wanes just depending on the possession. He's somebody who probably would be a little bit more engaged, the engagement level, particularly off ball. But I think that's usually why when you have these competitive guys, I think sometimes when they're not defending the ball, they can fall asleep. So if Bennedict's able to turn into a really good point of attack, making his two-way impact a little more sturdy and dependable when he's engaged on defense, the ability to get skinny through screen, it gives him a pretty solid base as a point of attack defender. But that's just something that he also didn't have to do that a lot at Arizona. So it'll be interesting to see how a team challenges him with that at the next level. Getting into the off-ball stuff with him, because I think the off-ball defense, like you mentioned, is definitely his biggest impediment. Being a consistently plus defender, I think his ability to disrupt shooters when closing out on the perimeter is kind of what gave me a little bit of pause with him. He's listed with a 6'9" wingspan, on top of, like we mentioned several times, but at this point, him being a good athlete, but the tools aren't as disruptive as you want. I was kind of appalled sometimes going through the film for Bennedict on defense. Even sometimes when he'd be in good position, guys would just shoot over the top of him. And even though he's lanky and he has a 6'9" wingspan, he wasn't really disrupting guys as much as you would like to see. Improving his positioning might be huge in taking that next step for him, for Bennedict. So I think that's my number one thing for him on that end. So I mean, what else? Did you have any other concerns or swing skills for Bennedict when we talk about his projection?
No, I mean, I think we touched on them all. I think for him, swing skills realistically are going to come from his ability to grasp the NBA game, and I think it's going to be him. He's going to have to be a film rat on the defensive end. And I just feel that offensively, he has the tools to be, if not a plug and play rotation piece right now, at worst, a prospect you feel very highly about. And as he works on his handle, his offense is gonna continue to flourish. I think just defensively, if he's gonna want to crack these rotations now and really get the playing time that he believes he deserves, he's going to have to give us that effort on defense, and his swing skill is going to have to be effort.
Pistons at 5, especially with a team like the Pistons, who are closer to, I think, depending on how their offseason goes.
Yep.
And who they're able to add to that team, they're closer to being able to fight for a play-in spot in the East. I think a lot of people would agree on that, just because that's how good of a prospect Cade Cunningham is. But if you throw him off of Cade, he's going to be able to bring a lot more of that downhill juice and athleticism that Cade needs in a backcourt partner. And I think the shooting is also going to be. He's going to be able to space the floor for Cade, and I think Cade's also just the amount of catch and shoot opportunities that he would get. Bennedict is somebody who I'm willing to bet on just because of, his competitive level, what he's shown, just the improvement from year 1 to year 2. That's going to wrap us up. Bennedict Mathurin video. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you are smashing that like button and subscribe to the Draft Season Podcast. We'll be back with another draft season NBA draft breakdown for your head tops coming soon.